What's up YouTube? I'm Newlin from Newlin Performance. In this video I'm going to explain recruiting profiles and websites and how to set up your own recruiting profile. Guys, this is going to be the last episode of my full series of college soccer recruiting. I'm sure I'll make more videos in the future here and there about smaller topics, but this is the 10th video of this series. So I think I've covered pretty much all the big things, all the important things. So hopefully after watching all of these, you guys can learn something, take some things away, and use some of this information to benefit you and your recruiting process. So before I explain, I just want to make it clear, having a recruiting profile or website is not totally necessary. If you just have well-written emails, a good solid resume or CV, and a good highlight video, that can be really good for you to reach out to coaches, send that to them, and you might not even need a recruiting profile, but it is something nice to have. It can give you another pathway of coaches seeing you and finding you. And they can also make it simpler for you to reach out to coaches, find their emails, get your information out of there. The way I like to think of recruiting profiles or websites is kind of like comparing it to social media. If you don't have any social media, almost no one on the internet is going to find you unless they've heard about you from someone else, or you directly email them, which is like if you don't have a recruiting profile, you're going to have to directly email them or just be that good that somehow they hear about you, which is super unlikely. However, if you do have a recruiting profile, it's a lot higher chance that coaches will see you. Just like if you have social media, it's a lot higher chance people will see you and find you, because there are a lot of coaches active on these recruiting profiles and websites, and it's also just simpler to email them, reach out to them. It can save you a lot of time, but you shouldn't just be totally dependent on your recruiting profile. So first I want to explain some of the different recruiting profiles I've used or heard about. There's a ton out there. Most of them are set the same. You can upload a highlight video, put in your basic information, obviously height, weight, GPA. A lot of them you can add your stats from the season, from club, from high school. You can upload a transcript, and then once you go past some of those things, that's when you see some of the differences between recruiting websites or profiles. Some will have like a college search or college finder. You can narrow down your results, and that's a great, easier, simpler way of making a list of schools to email and reach out to. Some of them will have an option where you can put a personal statement. Some of them will have an option where you can take a sort of test that will kind of tell coaches about your personality type. Some of them allow you to input like endorsement or reference letters from your coaches. And a lot of them should also let you put in past events, camps, combines, tournaments you've attended. So it just depends on the site. The three ones I'm going to talk about most, and these are the only ones I've really used, are NCSA. That's the one I've used by far the most. Prephero and CaptainU. Another thing you should note about a lot of these recruiting profiles or websites, most of them will let you start free, and then once you try to message someone, or it'll say you got a message and then you try to view it, or some other features will be locked behind like a paywall. So just do your research on the website, the profile you're thinking about using, how much it costs, whether you can afford it, whether it's worth that extra money to make things simple for you, to easier reach out to coaches. Is it worth saving that time, or would you rather keep the money and do all the work on your own mostly? You need to ask yourself, is it worth it for you? In previous videos I've showed you how to make your own college soccer resume or CV, make your own highlight video, how to put together emails. But that does take a lot of time, and some people, they just don't have that kind of time, or if you just don't feel like it, a recruiting profile is a good way to go. Like I said, I still wouldn't suggest just putting all your time and effort into one site, one profile. There's a lot of coaches where they might be super active on one profile or site, or they might not be active at all, and then they might have certain ones that they really work with and certain ones they don't work with at all. Just because that school has a profile on there doesn't mean that they're going to reply, that they see every message that gets sent on there. And remember, a lot of other student athletes are going to take that route and think they should just reach out through the recruiting profile, whereas if they emailed them to their email on one recruiting profiler website, on another recruiting profile website, you're only increasing your chances that they'll see your email and reply to you. So first of all, NCSA, it's maybe the most popular recruiting profiler website. A lot of people use it. I used it. I did most of my emailing through the profile, which is still definitely time consuming. So we decided to pay for NCSA. I think their cheapest option was like $800 or something, if I'm being honest with you. And I believe there's 3 different levels. I don't remember the exact difference between the levels, but you should, call one of their recruiting coaches before you pay for this, or research it more so you can understand, what you're paying for exactly. But overall, it was super helpful. I'm going to describe some of the features. First of all, with NCSA, when you make an account, you'll just see you can put a profile picture, your basic information. It has different sections for your video, athletics, academics, events, like your preferences when you hit on your profile. And there's also different sections of messaging, of like a college finder or search thing. They have what they call NCSA University, where you can take like different mini courses sort of, and it'll explain different parts of recruiting to you. So overall, this is probably by far the best recruiting profiler website I've came across. Like I said, it is quite pricey, so you need to really think about if it's worth it. Something you should note though is that some of these recruiting profiles and websites, their information is not up to date. For example, if I went to try to email my school, Schreiner University, right now, the coaches list is not up to date. So, like I said, don't invest all your time into just one recruiting profiler website. The coaches might not even be active on there, and if they are, you might have the wrong email and it will say the wrong coach's name at the school. So while it takes way more time to do everything on your own, it can be more effective that way. With that said, this is a great resource though. They can make a highlight video for you if you just send them your game film. It can help them a lot if you pick out a game log and make sure you inform them your number, your position, what you look like, and post them on your profile. Depending on the level you get, you can have quite a few talks with recruiting coaches. They can analyze your film, tell you what they think you should work on. They can just give you advice about emailing coaches, reaching out to them. They can also suggest some schools they think are good matches for you. And you can also post your own highlight videos. I'm showing a really quick mini tutorial here of how to do that. You can just post it from YouTube or Huddle, post the link, and it will pop up on your recruiting profile. And like I said, I made a whole video about how to make your own highlight film all on your phone. So you can check that video out here. And then when you go into athletics, the athletics tab on your profile, you can list multiple seasons, your stats, your awards or achievements. There's a separation for high school and club. You can also put your coach's information on there. Under academics, of course, they have GPA, SAT, ACT. They have sections where you can type in your awards and achievements. So here is an example of what I put in that section. You can upload your transcript in that section as well. Here's also a section like I kind of referred to earlier, where you can take this sort of test and it'll tell your personality type, which can be interesting for coaches so they get a better sense of who you are. There's also a personal statement text box where you can type in stuff about you. For your personal statement, I'd recommend saying something about soccer, what your motivation is. If you have a cool story behind it, share that. This is really your one chance on your profile to get personal. You can also add in some of your awards and achievements for soccer, for academics. If you're part of any special groups or clubs, it's a great place to put that. If you have anything else that's really unique or special about you, if I had this YouTube channel back in high school, I'd definitely say something about that. But still try to stay humble and at least wrap it up saying you'd feel super blessed if you got an opportunity to play college soccer, something like that, so you don't just seem super cocky. With their college search or finder option, it's really cool. You can narrow it down from division, location, religious affiliation. You can also choose majors, but again, like I said, some of this isn't always super reliable. Like the coaches list might not be updated. The list of majors for the school might not be totally updated because there wasn't an AI in my hometown that I know for sure had exercise science, but on NCSA it said they didn't have it. So that's just something to be aware of. Again, when you find schools, you can like star them or put them in your favorites list. This is how I made my list. But I'd also recommend, like I just said, to Google the school, look through their majors, look through their college soccer roster, things like that, to get the most up-to-date sense of them, because NCSA isn't the quickest to update their information about the schools. So you could use NCSA to find the schools if you're just narrowing down by division or something like that, and then Google them after just to double check the information about the school is reliable. Then once you've made that list of schools, you can use the messaging tab and reach out to them. If you're on the school's profile already, you can hit an option of message and choose which coach. But when you're in the messaging tab, you can also hit new message, type in a school, type in a coach's name, and then start making your message. I've made a whole video about how to email coaches, so I'm not going to get into the details there on this video. And you can also save templates, which is really helpful. So I'll show you right here how to go to the templates tab. Once you're in the templates tab, you can edit old ones, save them, make new ones. Again, like I said in my video about emailing college coaches, you can differentiate from introduction emails, update emails. You can save those templates on here and then just fill in the blanks with like the coach's name, the school's name, and then a sentence or two that's personalized about the school, soccer program, coach. And that is how I did it when I emailed my list of schools. And you can also insert links to your profile. You can put pictures in there, so maybe if you screenshot your resume or CV, or you can insert another link to your resume or CV through there. You can also use a link to your highlight video, because just because they open their email does not mean they've viewed your profile. In fact, if they do view your profile after you send a message, that's actually really good and a good sign. So not many coaches do that unless they're very interested. So I know this was mostly about NCSA, but a lot of other recruiting profiles and websites work similarly, and some have different features. For example, when I went to an exact soccer camp, they kind of set you up with a Prephero account. And what's interesting about this is where I got a little feedback thing from one of the coaches at the camps, and then I could actually put that onto my NCSA profile as well, link that to there, but it's originally on my Prephero account. And this is how I emailed coaches before I had an NCSA account, and I emailed the coaches that I saw were going to be at the exact soccer camp before and after the camp. And you can also put coach endorsements on here as well, so endorsement and reference letters you can post on here, and I think I also linked that back to my NCSA account. Those are a couple unique, cool features on the Prephero site. CaptainU is another one I use because I think there's a few schools that really talk to me just through that app. And again, it has pretty much all the basics, GPA, basic stats, video link, and then a messaging option. But a lot of times when you go to that, it will say like you have to pay or get the subscription to do it. So I don't know too much about that site. I believe Prephero, to use most of the features, it's pretty much free. I think there's been a couple of times I've clicked on something and it'll say, you need to pay for this or something like that. But I do know for sure CaptainU and NCSA have like a free version and then a paid version. NCSA, Prephero, CaptainU, whatever are great resources, but they're resources. They're not the answer to all your recruiting problems. Hopefully you guys learn more about recruiting profiles and websites in this video. I know there's so many out there and I can't just cover them all, and I just cover the ones that I've used because I don't want to speak for other sites. I know most of them share the same features. In my experience, NCSA has been the most helpful, and they just have the most features and cool things you can use on there, but even that one is flawed. There's a lot of information like the coaches at schools and even information about the schools that aren't the most up to date. So still do your own research, but comment down below if you're using a recruiting profile or website. Which one are you using? What's been your favorite one? And if you aren't using one, or you're already committed or going to school somewhere and didn't use one, let me know how you did it. How did your recruiting process go? How did you get coaches' attention? If you did enjoy, like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon once you've subscribed to turn on notifications. This is the end of this series, but in just a week or two, I'll be starting another series, posting podcast-like interviews with other soccer players, people in the soccer and fitness industry at the college, semi-pro, and professional levels. So stay tuned for those videos. This is officially the end of this series, but you can watch all other videos on one of my playlists on this channel. So thank you all again, and I'll see you on the next one.